Welcome back, Misfits. Since starting our series on the 5 pillars of your fitness, we've talked about the first pillar, purpose, at length. And we've even talked about how to turn that purpose into a goal through the use of SMART goals. But that is just our goalpost. That is our destination. That is where we want to be at the end of our journey, or at least at the end of this stage of our journey. Now, getting there is an entirely different step, and undertaking that continues with the next pillar, planning. Just like a road trip, you could set out blindly, just only knowing your general destination. Without a map to guide you, you could use road signs to try to get there. But just like with that analogy, it would be easy to get distracted with stops along the way. And while there's nothing wrong with taking some detours and looking around, you can also get distracted by bad advice or get distracted by signs and directions that you don't understand. Worse yet, the mile markers along the way might make you feel like you haven't come far enough, fast enough, or you might get distracted by the traffic around you. And you for sure couldn't gauge it off the cars in front or around you, since you don't know where they're going, where they're coming from, or what they're working with. I know it's a silly example, and it's not meant to fearmonger or scare anyone into not setting out on a journey before they have every last tiny detail of their fitness journey figured out. Sometimes, with the gym, as with road trips and other things in life, you just need to get up and get moving. But if you're like many clients I have trained, this isn't your first rodeo or attempt to get up and get going. This time, you want a plan. All great journeys, all worth undertaking, need a plan. My dad, as with many things in life, has always said it better than I can. He has a way with compacting complex feelings and ideas into easy to digest wisdom. He always told me, hope without a plan is just a wish. I have added to that in my time trying to motivate others that planning without hope has no point. But in the purpose pillar, we set our goal. We set our point. We set our destination. So now we have our hopes, purpose, and goals. And we need to make a plan to get there to ensure that we stay on the path, that we are following the right signs, that we are keeping our eyes on the right mile markers, and that we're not allowing ourselves to get distracted by anything that doesn't serve our purpose for too long. The people around us with their own paths to follow, who may or may not want us to succeed, bad advice, no matter how well intended, or just things we would rather stop and see along the way, but which will delay us from our goals. Now, that's all great and proper, and a really ethereal way of driving home how important planning is. But what does that concretely mean? What does proper planning look like? As you might have figured out, that's why we mapped out our goals so specifically. Half the work is done there by simply figuring out how far you want to go, which direction, how quickly, and how to measure distance along the way. We still have much planning to do. Routes, supplies, means of transportation, but plotting ahead so specifically helps us to much more accurately suss out the best ways to get there. Now, I'm biased, and while I don't often use travel agents in my own travel analogy, I do find tour guides once I get to my destination, and if I do stop to see the sights, I ask locals. So, I'd highly recommend getting someone, a coach, to help make your journey easier. But even if you do, these are all still questions and answers you will have to figure out with them, hopefully us, to make that process easier. So I'm going to cover this in the following installments in this series as we go into depth on each of them. But trying to spend a roughly 10-minute video on all of the following wouldn't do them justice, and 10 minutes each might still not. We might run a little bit longer with each video. But for now, the core components of a good fitness plan are nutrition, the fuel in your tank, hydration, the oil keeping all your systems functioning, exercise, It is keeping that engine running, burning fuel, and not letting your body settle into a state of stagnation or disrepair. Sleep and recovery, the routine maintenance you need to do to keep your vehicle from overheating. And then finally, supplementation and vitamins. I don't really have a car analogy for this one. Maybe I'll come up with one later, but supplementation, vitamins, nutrients, micronutrients are going to help round out your other needs. So your homework is to, with these components in mind, start to look for yourself into which of these you might think might best align with your goals before we go further into each of them. Dig around, look into food, routines, apps, coaches, and tools that might keep you coming back to work on your body. But for now, this has been Coach Cap, helping put the fit in misfit.